if you're looking for a new book to read this summer, I've got the book for you. The Rise and Fall of Danny Trueheart. It's a series of books, and we just happen to have the author with us today, Michele Kwasniewski. Welcome, Michele.
Hi, Mike. Nice to be back. Thanks for having me on the show.
There you are. I found you. Now you're somewhere in California near the ocean. Is that right?
Yes, I'm in San Clemente, California, which for those not familiar, it's the last town in Orange County. We're right near Camp Pendleton and San Diego. So we're lucky to be a little cooler here than most parts of the state and the country.
Now here are your book covers. There's 3 of them. Is that right?
Yes.
In the series. Tell us the titles. They're up there, but I can't see that far anymore.
Sure. The first book is Rising Star, the second book is Burning Bright, and the third book is Falling Star. And the whole series deals with a 15-year-old aspiring pop singer and how fame and fortune of a Taylor Swift level ultimately affects her development into adulthood and also her relationships with her friends and family.
Now, when did you start writing these?
Well, I actually started writing the first book in 2011, and it took me about 7 years to finish. And then another year to I got an agent and then got a publisher. And then the other books rolled out really quickly. Yeah. The second book, Burning Bright, came out in 2021 and Falling Star came out in 2023.
Now, I have a lot of authors on this show, hundreds a year. And I started to compliment you before the show. I said, I'm going to wait till we're live. No author is out there more than you. I just see your promotions coming through, and they're really nice, too. Little things pop up on, I think, even the TikTok, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm on TikTok. I do have someone who helps me with posting, because between posting and parenting and then trying to market the books as well as write the books, it's like a full-time job, more than a full-time job. It's 2 jobs. Yeah. So, but I do try to make sure I get myself out there as much as I can and it's something that no one tells authors. You really have to. I have a fantastic agent. I have an amazing publisher, but they have a bunch of clients they're dealing with, and I am my only client. So I treat it like a business, and I really try to make those connections and get out there as much as possible.
And there's a lot of people who are looking for their next book to read, and hopefully some will watch our show to pick their next book. Now, you mentioned Taylor Swift, who we saw go from a young girl to, her age now. And you see these contestants, say, on American Idol and things like that go from zero to stardom overnight. And where did this idea come? How did this idea pop into your head?
Well, I used to work in entertainment, but I worked behind the scenes. I started out in film, working on set, movies like Independence Day and Face Off, things like that. And then I ended up going into television, working for the biggest show I worked on was Big Brother. But then I worked on a lot of TLC and Discovery Channel shows. I was a production manager and associate producer. So, and I just saw a lot more movies than in the television shows of just how people acted around fame, how people talked when I was talking about my job, which for me, it's drudgery because you're working, 14, 16 hours a day, not making necessarily a ton of money when you're behind the scenes. But everyone was so excited about what I was doing because it was so different from their job. So the lure of that is really, really, I think, pervasive across all different countries and ages. I think everyone wishes they could be involved in that. But there's a really big dark side to that. And so that's what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, so we get some of the dark side in the book. In the books.
Yeah, it gets dark. The series definitely gets darker as it goes along. In the first book, she has a couple of problems, but she's 15 and it's pie in the sky, and she's just so swept up in her dream that she doesn't kind of see, how did she get there? Like her mom pushing her. She didn't realize kind of what she was getting herself into. And then Burning Bright, again, she's traveling the world on a world tour. She's making money hand over fist. No one's saying no to her. Yeah. But again, she's not really making the connection that there's going to be a dark side or maybe a downfall. Yeah. And then in book 3, kind of the chickens come home to roost with a lot of her decisions she's been making and lack of supervision from the adults in her life. And really, a fall is subjective. What does fall mean? It doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. It's, there's always consequences to whatever choice. Yep. And that's kind of what the series deals with.
Everybody gets a wake-up call sooner or later.
Yeah, and you have to really accept the choices you've made,
And by the way, we're talking about how you're out there. You really do a good job getting your book in front of people. I just happen to have a few pictures here. I love these kinds of pictures. There's one with you doing a signing. You can't see them, but our viewers can. There's another signing. I love these. So you get out there and do it, I guess.
I do, and I will say I recommend to every writer out there, if you have your book distributed by someone like Ingram Sparkle, one of the regular distributors, go in and talk to Barnes and Noble because their president a couple years ago, they had a new CEO, I think, and he said he wanted to do more local author events. And that's how I got in. I've been in Arizona. I've been a couple times here in Orange County. And they really are willing, as long as they can return the books that they purchased, that's their biggest thing, so that you don't have to consign the books and pay for it out of your own pocket.
Oh, yeah, that's way
I highly
better,
recommend it. That's a great thing, and that's a huge boost. Award shows are another, contests are another boost for unknown authors. And that's how I got to be in Times Square several times.
Yeah, I just was going to say, I have this picture. I want you to tell us about it. It looks like Times Square.
It is, yeah. I just recently won a couple of awards. Won my first book, and so you can enter a book usually for about 5 years after you publish it for these awards. Some are only the first year it's out, but some are up to 5 years. And so Rising Star is just entering into that last, I can't really enter it anymore. So it won an Independent Press Award for teen, and it also won a distinguished favorite for the New York Big Book Awards. And then my second book, Burning Bright, won first place for the 2023 New York Big Book Awards. So, and I got to go to New York and participate in this awards gala, which was amazing. And then part of that was having my book up in Times Square, which was, how many people passed through Times Square in one day?
Oh, my goodness. Well, millions, I know that.
Yeah.
I just zoomed in on your image at Times Square. I was at Times Square with my son a couple last year, and he goes, Dad, you know, in about 10 minutes, 500,000 people are going to move through here when all these theaters let out all at once. And it's amazing how many people go through there. So you won the award, and as a result, they put your book up at Times Square?
Yeah. So it was great. And so for 24 hours, it got to be up at Times Square. It was once every hour for 10 seconds. It was 10-second video. And my husband couldn't go, but I got to take one of my best friends and one of my, and my son, and they got to go see it. And it was just nice because they've been through so much on my writing journey with me. So it was nice for everyone to see it. We just missed my husband who couldn't be there. Sorry, Greg.
You know, I tell people this all the time, like, what's the big deal about the awards? Well, as a person who's always looking for my next book to read, it helps me narrow it down. I mean, this book's been recognized and helps me narrow it down. And I mean, there's thousands and thousands of books you have to go through to decide what to read next. So somebody else will go through and say, oh, we're recognizing this book. That really helps. So congratulations on that.
I thank you so much. And it really does help. And I just advise writers, when you've got that book, make sure you check out the award that you're applying to, because some are kind of not legitimate.
Yeah.
But I really, really searched hard and wide. And my agent was said, you know, if you're entering legitimate contests, it definitely helps, because that little gold seal or that medal, even if it's just a distinguished favorite or an honor, it definitely helps people realize, like, oh, hey, this isn't just something she wrote in her garage and published on a machine in her garage. It actually is a legitimate book. And again, self-published books can win these awards too, because I don't see a difference between self-published and traditionally published book, because it's hard work and it's a story, and there's so many stories out there to be told, and there's an audience for each kind of story. Yeah.
And how do you find where to submit these? Do your agents help with that?
My agent's given me a couple of contests, but I also do a lot of research. And if you look up legitimate book awards contests, and aside from like the Booker Award, a lot of the big awards that won't look at someone that, as an author like me, that's so small, you have to really weed through and read. If they're asking for a lot of money, that's a red flag. If they're, you know, they'll take any book that's not even, because some awards will take books that aren't even published. So that's a red flag too. You want to say, like, if you saw someone receiving that award, would you think, that's legitimate? You know, one first place winner, maybe a second or third honorable mentions, but not like 10 first place winners for one category. That's a little bit suspicious. So,
who's reading this book? Who do you find your biggest market is?
You know, I will say that anyone who's ever sung into their shampoo bottle at the top of their lungs, sung in their car, or has wanted to be famous, I think that's the audience. Yeah. But I also, like, I've had a ton of teens read it. I've had boys and girls read it. My youngest reader's 11. I've had a lot of parents read it too, either with their teens or just kind of curious. The mother character, who's really not the best person, has drawn a lot of readers. She's very, everyone loves to hate her. And I think even before Danny, she's gotten the most talk on my reviews and from my audience. So which has been fun to write, because it's always kind of fun to write something that people hate.
yet. So the short answer is everyone, everyone.
Yeah, it definitely
reading
is.
your
And
book.
again, my oldest reader, I've had my husband's best friend's parents read it, and they were in their 80s. My grandmother's read it when she was like 97. So a lot of people can read it because again, it's a clean read. So you don't have to worry about any kind of like sex or any kind of other stuff if you have a younger reader.
That's great.
But it just is shows you behind the curtain what's
Yeah.
going on in fame. And I think a lot of people are curious.
Now, it sounds like a true American story. Are people outside of the United States reading the book?
Yes, I have actually a lot of people in England. I think my furthest way I've had people read it in India and Hungary. So that's been kind of fun.
Yeah.
So again, people reach out to me, and it's like if it's a review, or because there's Instagram and Book Talk do a lot of reviews. So I have the copies that I buy on sale, so I'll mail them out a hard copy, and then they'll post it and review it, and that helps too. Gets more people all over the place. It is sold all over the world, and if you look online, you can see it in like Australia, in Scotland, and I go to different bookstores to visit it when I'm traveling the world. So that's
good.
kind of fun.
Do you get to travel to Europe and promote the book?
I haven't done that. I do pop into stores and leave my bookmarks and whatever. It's harder to get a European store to carry it just because it's an American book and I'm an unknown author. But I'm hoping maybe with my next series, I just finished the first book in a new series. I'm hoping maybe that'll help and I can get into a European tour eventually.
Yeah. I know we're here to talk about this book, but just tell us a bit about the new series.
Well, the new series, I'm switching from young adults to contemporary, kind of like chick lit, just contemporary women's fiction. It's a bit of a comedy, and it's about a girl who's 23, so I guess you'd call it new adult. And she discovers some things about her family she didn't realize, and it changes who she thinks she is and changes her entire life. And I tell you the title, but it gives away everything, and I really want to save that for when I do the cover reveal. Yeah. But it definitely is. It's something I've been working on for a little bit, and I've gotten some good feedback on it so far. So I'm really hoping it's a hit.
Now, the Danny Trueheart series, what formats are they out in?
The first two books are in audio, and then all the rest of the books are in ebook form, and then they're also in paperback.
Very good.
And they're available all over the world. So they're on Amazon. They're available at Blackstone's, Waterstones, Walmart, anywhere you could think you buy books. That's where you get it.
Yeah. My son did just send me, I'm sure he's watching, right? Kindle. I got my first Kindle. It's still in the box. I've had it for 2 weeks, so maybe I'll get it out and load the Rise and Fall of the Danny Trueheart series onto the Kindle.
That would be great. I personally am a paperback or hardcover book girl myself, but I know my sister does not go anywhere without her Kindle, and she loves it because she's never without a book. She always has like 10 at least stacked up in her queue.
That's good. That's good. I made that up in grad school. I made up the saying ABR, always be reading. Wherever I was in supermarket line or anything, I was always reading, and to this day I still do. So, Michele?
I always have a book in my car or in my purse.
In the car, yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't take them in my car as much because I tend to read at stoplights and I get in trouble. So, Michele Kwasniewski, any last thoughts for our viewers? Anything you want to tell them about you, your books, or anything in the world?
Just as for any author, reviews help. So if you do happen to read a book, not just mine, but any, definitely leave them a review on Amazon or BookBub or somewhere else, because every review legitimizes the author's work. And I know since I've become an author, I definitely review absolutely everything I read. So, and for anyone who's read my book and reviewed it, I really appreciate it. So.
Now, I do have reviewed books on Goodreads, but my reviews tend to be several pages long. Do the reviews have to be long? Can it be just a click on 5 stars?
They don't, and Goodreads is another great website to leave reviews on. So it could just be simple as a star review, and again, any review counts. So don't feel like you have to give everything a 5-star review. Be honest.
Yeah.
But every review counts in that number. It's got 50 reviews, 100 reviews, 18,000 reviews.
Wow.
And then, you can write, loved it, great travel book, beach read, whatever you want to write is always welcome.
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to do that more. I don't have
it's a great idea. And writers will thank you for it.
I don't have to do the full review. I could just click or put a couple
But
words.
I do the same thing. Books I love, I write a really long review.
Yeah, I've done that. So, all right, Michele, thank you so much for coming on our show again, and we're looking forward to your new book, your new series. But for now, for our viewers, go find this one, The Rise and Fall of Danny Trueheart. It's a series, and as I always say, don't go buy one copy. Buy 5 copies, for goodness sakes, and share them around. We'll all be reading the same books at the same time. Thank you so much, Michele.
Thanks so much, Mike, for having me on. Take care.
And we'll be back with more authors right after this.